I'm Esri Garrity, Chief Medical Officer at Esri. As you might expect, due to the global COVID-19 pandemic, I'm coming to you today from my home in Sacramento, California.
And I'm Ryan Langklaus, Director of Public Safety and Disaster Response, joining you here from my home in Houston, Texas. The time we're all living through right now will be remembered for generations to come as a time of global crises.
You know, we're never going to forget our stories of isolation and quarantine, of local social distancing efforts, the hunt for toilet paper, and the creative ways we wear face masks in public. And by the way, the enormity of the great work that's been done by everyone has been incredible. The worldwide response to COVID-19 by the GIS community, by you, has provided the maps that run the world. Let's take a look. It all began here with the Johns Hopkins University's dashboard that woke up the world to the threat that COVID-19 posed. Their work inspired dashboarding efforts across the globe, like the one built by the Africa CDC, showing COVID-19 status for an entire continent, with the option to focus in on various regions across Africa. In South America, we can look at the country scale and see that Colombia is paying close attention to the origin and importation of cases. In Australia, for the state of New South Wales, the University of Sydney took their analysis all the way down to the postal code. And they also have this handy filter so that we can home in on higher risk populations. In Asia, Hong Kong is sharing data on cases and hospitalizations and is also mapping the actual buildings where there have been confirmed cases. Here in North America, the state of Maryland shares data at the zip code level with detailed information on testing volume and the percent of positive tests. As a leader in transparency, the state is also sharing this dashboard, indicating ventilator trends and current availability, as well as this remarkable dashboard telling us the latest statistical information for each and every nursing home. Dashboards are being used for more than just the raw case counts. For example, the University of the Aegean is interested in the southern European countries, showing the places where young people are at higher risk for unemployment due to the pandemic. So, you can see across every continent and at every scale, even all the way to the region of Timbuktu in Mali, people are using dashboards to understand the novel coronavirus. Still, it isn't enough to only understand the current situation. You want to understand the future. Together, we've developed and provided new tools and capabilities to model the curve, forecasting hospital bed and ventilator impacts associated with various social distancing scenarios, all in an effort to maintain our capacity to care for the sick. Failing that, when more capacity was needed, you used location allocation methods to site field hospitals and testing centers in the places that were most equitable, considering population risks, vulnerabilities, and accessibility needs. You created and shared new data resources on social distancing behaviors that could be visualized with space-time cubes. There's even a layer representing the date that California's stay-at-home order went into effect. We saw GIS analysts bring in another data source, outdoor temperature, to develop this innovative visualization, demonstrating the interconnectedness in these datasets. As the days got warm, many people chose to venture outside, creating new patterns in the social distancing data. Such understanding is vital to monitoring and setting effective policies. Beyond analytics, you built hub sites to communicate and engage your communities, like Cobb County, Georgia. They included apps for their community, like this Survey 123 used to crowdsource information on essential products and services in local grocery stores. Their dashboard shows which stores are offering the best experiences and which ones have essential products, like toilet paper, on their shelves. In Montana, their hub site focuses on recovery, showing business closures and unemployment, those who took advantage of the Paycheck Protection Program, where you could get childcare, the status of local tourism, and new business license applications. And these are just a few of the applications you've created.
Thousands of you had answered the call from your organization, and you've stepped up to move our world forward. Leading our disaster response program has given me a unique opportunity. I get to see your good work and how it's making a real difference in this crisis. Esty and I just want to say thank you to so many organizations who have come together to provide new sources of data and geospatial approaches to address this challenge. Your work is so impressive, but our job's not over yet. So today we want to share with you 3 new GIS capabilities and approaches that you can apply moving forward: Time Series Forecasting, Indoors GIS, and Community Contact Tracing. Let's get started.
ArcGIS Pro introduces a brand new capability that we can apply to our disease surveillance activities so that we can monitor what's going on with COVID, how it's progressing, and forecast what may happen next. Lauren will show you how the new Time Series Forecasting tool can do just that.
Hi, I'm Lauren Bennett, and I lead our spatial analysis and data science software development team. Forecasting has been key in our response to COVID-19. And there are so many different ways to forecast, including the epidemiological models that many of us have leveraged. Today, I want to show you another approach that focuses on modeling patterns and trends in time series data. And what we want to do is go from the current data, in this case, a map of new daily COVID-19 cases, to this 2-week forecast, where we can see the entire forecast and its uncertainty in this pop-up for Ventura County, California. So, how did we do it? Well, in Pro 2.6, we're introducing a new toolset for doing time series forecasting using both traditional and machine learning-based approaches. Within the time series forecasting toolset, there's several tools that we can leverage. We chose exponential smoothing for this data because the time series exhibits some complex trends. Both exponential smoothing and the random forest-based approach are really good at dealing with complex time series, including seasonal or cyclical trends in our data, which can be really tricky when forecasting. Well, for this analysis, we pointed to our space-time cube, and we chose 14 days to forecast, giving us that 2-week forecast. Then we left season length blank. Now, when we leave this parameter blank, the tool automatically evaluates seasonality for each location. Finally, we had to choose the number of time steps to exclude for validation. Well, this kind of validation is critical when doing time series forecasting, and it's just built right in here. Well, that's all we had to do to get to our forecast. Now, one of the most important outputs of the tool is actually in these pop-ups. Now, within each pop-up, which is automatically generated whenever we run the tool, we can see our measured data in blue, our forecast in orange, and the uncertainty around that forecast. It gives us a really valuable sense of how the model fits location by location across the country. Now, another really important variable to forecast is cumulative cases. Now, the cumulative data follows more of a parametric curve, so we'll use the curve fit forecast tool to model it. Now, in this case, we have to choose a curve type. Now, if we knew that every location followed an exponential curve, for instance, then we would choose that. But we know that some locations have started to plateau, while others are unfortunately on the rise again. So instead, we can choose auto detect, which will allow the curve type to vary location by location. Well, the output is our prediction. And again, we can see in the pop-ups our forecast, and we can see the curve type that was chosen. Now, one of the things that I love about this toolset as a geographer is that it can evaluate which model and which curve type that we've tried works best location by location. And we can see that variation across the country. So we can see, for instance, swaths of the country where exponential smoothing has been chosen in blue, or areas where curve fit was chosen in shades of orange. We can see just how complex modeling this pandemic is, and how valuable it is to have multiple methods available and the tools to evaluate them. And there are so many applications for this type of time series forecasting. Everything from forecasting store sales to energy usage. And being able to see the spatial patterns in those forecasts and in the models that created them allows us to understand our world in a deeper, more meaningful way.
The new time series forecasting tools are just a few of the many capabilities that continue to help us anticipate what might happen next. And being proactive, not reactive, is critical to an effective response. Now, I have to say that one of the most unique aspects of this pandemic is that it's forcing us to think differently about how we both plan and operate at the building level, evolving our thinking around how we can manage and open classrooms, venues, shelters, and even our own offices, given new social distancing guidelines. Amanda's going to show us how ArcGIS Indoors allows us to go inside to better analyze and plan how we can safely reopen.
Hi, I'm Amanda Stanko. GIS is often used outdoors. Now increasingly it's being used more indoors. As we plan to return to the office, we can use ArcGIS Indoors to follow social distancing guidelines and provide safe working environments. I'm going to show you how we can explore Esri's campus in detail with ArcGIS Indoors. This is Building Q, and here's where I am right now. We can easily see more details about each room, such as the room type, contact number, capacity, and we can continue to explore each floor of this building. We can switch to 3D to view all floors at once and look at the entire campus. Every building, floor, and room is now displayed in 3D. Next, let's take a look at some return to work analysis to see how 6-foot social distancing guidelines may impact our workspaces. These are the 6-foot buffers within each office to see how much space we have. The first thing we wanted to do is to see how much space we have now and understand our staff's current seating arrangement. The purple, orange, and green buffers are offices contained safely within 4 walls. But the blue buffers are my primary focus. These are locations where staff are seated closely together in cubicles. Let's take a look at a building that has many cubicles. And the potential seating conflicts, the intersection red where our 6-foot buffers overlap. Performing an office inspection with Collector, we were able to gather more details about these spaces. We measured wall height and took photographs to get more information about these intersects. Now that we understand our staff's current seating arrangement, we can update the seating plan around new safety requirements. And the new Space Planner for ArcGIS Indoors is the perfect tool for this. We can create multiple plans, such as alternating days, to minimize the amount of staff in the office at any one time. Let's open this plan for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to update the seating plan to ensure safe seating for everyone. Zooming into these cubicles here, the lighter shade are occupied, the darker shade are vacant, and potential seating conflicts are shown in red. In the upper left here, we have densely packed staff with overlapping spaces. We want to find a safer seat for Bernadette. To do this, we first unassign from this current seat, confirm. The next step is to find a safer option for Bernadette. Space is pretty tight here, so we'll look upstairs. Now we just drag and drop to this open office. And we've updated the seating plan to assign safe seating for all staff. The last update I want to make is an alternative to traditional assigned seating, a more flexible seating called office hotels. This is an increasingly common business practice that allows any staff that come in the option to book a clean, sanitized room on an as-needed basis. Let's go back to building Q and assign some of these offices as office hotels. This will consolidate space for the increasing number of us working from home. To select these offices, I draw a polygon to select them all at once. And then assign as hotels. Let's take a look at the mobile device and see how any staff can reserve an office hotel. As you can see, it has the same view and data. Let's zoom into this corner office. And to reserve a corner office, I just select the hotel button, select the day, space type, select that office, and book. Now the office is reserved for the day. These are just a few of the capabilities of ArcGIS Indoors. With Indoors, you can locate people and places, you can get indoor routing directions, and you can submit and manage geotag service requests, both in Enterprise and now in ArcGIS Online.
COVID-19 continues to challenge the way we approach almost every aspect of our world. And bringing our GIS skills indoors, as Amanda showed, can help us to balance the public's health with the need to reopen our economies. Another key to reopening is increasing our vigilance in identifying and breaking the transmission chains for this disease. To do this, we need new ways of thinking about contact tracing. Traditionally, it's been about the links between people. In other words, it's a person-to-person analysis. But let's innovate. In our interconnected and highly mobile world, we have the opportunity to add location to the process and really change the game and make it be about a person-to-person-to-place analysis. This is a location-focused approach that we're calling community contact tracing, and Yoon is going to show you how it's done.
Hi, I'm Juhan Yoon. Today, I'd like to share with you an important analytical capability called community contact tracing, which can help public health and other organizations fight the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Community contact tracing enhances traditional contact tracing approach with the ability to better understand how and where the disease is spreading throughout every community by adding in locations. In addition to individual contact tracing, it is now important to know where and when people are out in the community, their location at work, at a grocery store, at a beach, and so on. Let's take a look at how this all works. Here we have a fictional data set of 3 COVID-19 patients and their individual contacts recorded on a typical contact tracing spreadsheet. Using ArcGIS Pro, we can quickly geocode these addresses and plot it on a map on top of the SafeGraph points of interest data that shows all the businesses in the area. The red dots indicate a confirmed positive case, and the number in the middle represents the degree of separation from the initial cases, first, second, or third. The gray dots are trace contacts that have not tested positive at this time. To quickly check if there are any spatial patterns, we can create a heat map with just the confirmed cases and discover this hotspot with 13 cases, which happens to be a skilled nursing facility and the surrounding businesses in the area. Let's continue our analysis by next creating a link chart, which is new in ArcGIS Pro 2.6. We'll change the layout to better understand the hierarchy of the cases. The link chart helps us understand how the contacts are related from the very first 3 confirmed cases to all the other contacts. For example, Willard contacted Colleen, who contacted Madeline, and so on. And again, the red color helps us understand who has tested positive as we use the link chart to visually see and trace all the other contacts. Going back to the link chart, over here on the right, we see an anomaly like Michelle, which is a positive case without any positive links in between. Let's dig deeper by filtering this data and investigating just the cases like this. From here, we want to go beyond just the person-to-person contacts and investigate person-to-places by bringing in all the places that these people have visited in the community. By creating another link chart with this data, we can discover that all 5 of these cases visited a common business located right here. This suggests that these individuals may have been exposed to community transmission from an unknown source out in the community. This is just a quick example that extends the existing contact tracing solutions with community locations to have a more holistic community contact tracing approach. The simple change of adding location makes this all possible.
From these 3 examples, we see that there are many ways that GIS can continue to help us address this pandemic and innovate our traditional workflows like location-based contact tracing. But what about the next crisis? How can we be better prepared for whatever comes next? Most of us can relate to crisis response. It's what we see on the news all the time. The hurricane making landfall, the wildfire burning near a community. But beyond response is where you have an opportunity to make lasting change, to truly build resilience. You see, there's a common life cycle for any crisis or disaster, and those of you in public safety will know what I mean. But for those of you outside of public safety, what I'd like to offer is a general framework, a way for us to build preparedness for whatever comes next. As you emerge from the immediate response, recovery begins. This is a time where businesses are working to maintain continuity and where we can start to assess the lessons we've just learned to evolve our thinking and to build better solutions for the future. As time progresses, we'll start to take those lessons we've learned and then build towards awareness, using maps to assess and understand where we're most vulnerable using location intelligence. With this new awareness, we can then iterate and plan on different ways that allow us to minimize potential impacts and even prevent a crisis from turning into a disaster. Finally, you have to put it all together. The lessons you've learned, the new tools you're implementing, the awareness, the way you've modified your plans to increase the overall preparedness of your organization and be ready for the next crisis response. And this cycle continues with each crisis providing us with new ways to learn lessons and new opportunities to be better prepared and strengthen our overall resilience.
This is a great framework that can support the constant advancement of technology that seems to happen alongside every crisis. Let's look at some of the lessons we've learned from previous events. Back in 2001, 9/11 taught us a lot about the importance of integrating our information infrastructure in advance of an emergency. And Hurricane Katrina demonstrated the need for better national preparedness. The 2018 Camp Fire, which devastated Paradise, California, showed us the importance of communication and coordination. As those lessons were realized, the technology evolved to meet your needs. We built web services to facilitate data sharing. We created story maps for more effective communication. And we now have hubs to connect and engage the community. So, how will we and future generations remember this event? Were we as prepared as we could have been? How can we better interconnect our systems at all levels and support a clear need for finer scale mapping? I believe that these lessons, among others, that we learn from COVID-19 will catapult us to the next level of readiness.
And the next crisis is already here for many of us. Hurricane season, wildfires, desert locusts that are devastating crops, and social unrest that is fighting for racial equity around the world.
Over the last 2 days, you've seen a lot of Esri technology, tools that will help you increase your readiness. Now it's time for all of us to go and apply the lessons that we've learned.
We truly believe in the power of maps and location intelligence for crisis management to have an impact and improve our world. So as we close, we just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing to build resilience across all of our interconnected societies.
Now, more than ever, the world needs your passion and your creativity. Thanks for joining us.